Greetings, Star Citizens, and welcome to Flight Deck. This is a weekly podcast about Star Citizen and other gamer culture topics. I'm your host, Link Static MDK, and with me, as always, is Paper Thin.
Hey everybody.
All right, today's topics we have Around the Verse, episode 36, Star Citizen 1.1, 10 for the Chairman 42, Data Cache, and we have a Facebook page now.
Woohoo! We have a Facebook page.
Do.
We'll link to it and stuff. It's facebook.com/flightdecksc.
Okay. There's like nothing there. I'm totally gonna level with you people. Don't even bother looking right now. There's nothing on it.
We'll work on it.
We'll work on it. Yeah. It's on the to-do list. Not very high on the to-do list, but it's there.
But it's on the to-do list.
Oh yeah.
Also on the to-do list is the to-do list, so we got that.
Crap. Anyway, let's jump right in. So we have Around the Verse episode 36. This was 43 minutes, 26 seconds. Or, I'm sorry, 25 seconds. Whatever.
How could you get that wrong?
How could I? It's written right in front of me, too. Oh. Thank God I'm not paid for this. Anyway. First up, they had the Empire Report, which, you know, as anybody who's watched the previous one of these knows, we're fans of the Empire Report, so yay.
Yay.
First up on augmented limbs. They've talked previously about augmented limbs and like how they're gonna work, and like eventually your limb gets damaged enough that you need to replace it with like a cybernetic version.
Yeah.
You know. So where do they come from? It's kind of an interesting. I wonder if there's gonna be like, are these straight up like cybernetic, or are they also like grown limbs that you can attach, and you know?
Yeah, I don't know yet. I would assume they were just cybernetic, but I'm not sure.
Well, you think by like this point in time, you can grow. Here's my DNA, grow me a new arm too. You know.
You would think so.
You know? Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. It sounded like a lot of it was like questioning like the morality of whether or not you should like augment your limbs even though you haven't, lost a limb. But
my answer is probably.
Yeah, I would.
Why not? You know, make yourself as strong as 10 gorillas.
As 10 gorillas and chainsaw arms.
Well, and then the second one was Stranded in Space. Chris talked a little bit about the mechanic, how after like a while you'll get picked up, like there'll be a timer or something. So.
Yep.
Blah. And then we have the Black Jacket reunion, and the way they made it sounded like some sort of band called the Black Jackets. So. I assume they all wear black jackets in their band.
In fiction band, neat.
Yeah. Hopefully their music doesn't suck.
Right. I'm kind of hoping that, and I think they've alluded to this, that like player-created music could somehow make it into the game. I think they've briefly speculated on that before, but that would be kind of cool. Anyway.
Well, yeah, so long as like there's no royalties that they have to worry about, I'm sure.
Oh yeah, I mean I'd be fine just making music just for the game that people could. In their ships or in their hangars or whatever.
Well, and when they did the talk with the guy about who does all their in-game music, they wanted to release versions of their music and have people remix them too, so that will be cool.
That's true, yeah.
Awesome. Well, let's jump into the intro news segment that they talked about. So we had South by Southwest ongoing, which is now finished. So
right.
Yay. They got the most anticipated crowdfunding award, which is in their Austin office. So hopefully we'll see a picture of it. I was like, why would you mention it and then not have a picture?
That's true. They didn't show it, did they?
You'd think they would. Like, oh, here's a picture of Chris holding it or something, because it was there.
Yeah.
So
there's probably a picture somewhere.
Hopefully. Well, then they had the Star Citizen closing party, which they showed some of the like video of like people awkwardly dancing while talking. Like, I like the looks on like the. Everybody who works there at CIG like that you recognize, because they're all like these big smiles on their faces, so they're like so happy to be talking about what they're doing to people that like are genuinely interested, so that was cool.
Yeah, they looked like they were having a lot of fun, and I imagine the Star Citizen crowd aren't the biggest clubbers on the planet. Maybe in the European scene, but at least not in America.
Well, all those moves I bust all the time.
Yes.
All three.
And Ben Lesnick's got some moves too, so.
Like, yeah, he does.
You've seen him dance? He's freaking awesome, man. And
it's not a meme or anything.
No, exactly, yeah. They don't have it at the bottom.
Dance like nobody's watching. That's the, yeah. And for
Exactly.
me, hopefully nobody is, because I feel bad for them.
I would love to have like a classy kind of like jazz oriented like Star Citizen get together. I think that'd be pretty sweet. So
Feel free to
I
organize it.
expect to see that.
I'll
I
feel
would
free
if I
not to
like.
come, and you can
Hey,
feel free to organize it.
fine.
Fine.
You're not cool enough anyway.
I am not cool enough. I will grant you that.
No, but I fully expect to see that idea in a couple months at some event now.
Oh yeah, because you mentioned it, and
I
clearly,
know.
yeah,
And
clearly they're
yeah,
just,
they listen to us. We
oh,
know this.
of course, yeah, all one of them that might listen to us sometimes. Anyway, lots of new backers they were talking about, which is cool. I didn't see like a huge jump on the site, but what do I know?
Yeah.
They probably have actual numbers.
Right.
um, they also mentioned a rally car with stickers that they showed. It was kind of cool. It had like all these Star Citizen stickers on it,
Yeah, that
which,
was cool.
yeah. And then they also mentioned the Wing Commander movie premiere 16-year anniversary
Woo.
was, yeah. Um, like, I say this as a huge sci-fi nerd. That was a terrible movie.
It
Like,
was not very good.
I'll still watch it all the time just because, it's sci-fi, but like, it was a terrible movie.
Yeah, if I'm flipping channels and it's on, I'll usually stop to watch it. But
Oh yeah.
like, I'm not going to go out of my way to own this movie.
No, no. It's exactly where I'm at on it. So,
And I'm not even a Freddie Prinze Jr. hater. Like, I kind of don't mind him.
you
He does good voice work. He does good voice
I
acting.
kind of don't mind him. That's the most like I kind of don't mind him actually. Okay. Wow. Well, and then we had Spectrum News, where this is the segment of their show where they kind of jump to all the various offices and talk to them about what they're doing. So first up, we had Santa Monica. They're working on the Merlin, the Freelancer, and the Herald. They're all kind of in the pipeline being worked on. The Merlin is that tiny fighter that you have on your constellations, for anybody that owns one of those.
Yeah.
We've previously mentioned that it's cool, but we think it's ugly. So, hopefully it like looks different once they're all done with the rework. I would like the Merlin to look cool because
Yeah.
like from what they've shown, it doesn't look that great to me.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I've never liked it. It almost reminded me of. Have you seen the anime movie Redline,
Um, which
or
one's
at least
is
maybe
that the
like
one
seen?
where it's like they're drivers and it's a race and all that and like the
Yeah,
one
it's
dude
like a
has like that I forget that pomp
yeah the Pompadour.
yeah, Pompadour. Yeah, I have
Yep.
seen that. I don't
Okay.
think I've
Yeah.
seen the full thing. I've just seen like
Okay.
clips of it.
Clips.
Yeah.
It kind of reminded me of that in a little bit, like in the little elongated front, like it had like an elongated front, like all the cars did in that. Anyway,
Yeah. I get what you're saying. I
yeah.
still say it's a bobsled with wings.
I do like that description the best though.
Okay. Yay. So they mentioned it's kind of like a glass cannon. It can't really take a hit, but it does a lot of damage for a ship its size. Interestingly, it's made by Kruger Intergalactic, which is not the same company that makes the Constellation, which is RSI makes the Constellation. So interesting. There's probably like some behind the scenes deals going on. So
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. That was cool.
Apparently, it's like their first ship too. So in fiction, first ship.
Ooh.
So I wonder if they're gonna come out with more tiny fighters from Kruger, or are they gonna also have like a other ships? Who knows?
Yeah, that would be kind of cool to have like a ship whose whole purpose is to carry like four of those tiny fighters. It's like a
Oh,
I don't
that'd be
know,
so nice.
like a
Yeah,
mini carrier. You know what I mean?
yeah,
That'd be kind of cool.
yeah. That would be cool. I would definitely like a little escort ship almost.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Exactly.
that'd be really sweet. Well, and then they also mentioned they're working on the mount and weapon mount. Sorry, weapons and their mounts specializations. Ugh.
I know.
So for that, they kind of have to determine the size that they want each weapon and mount to be, and then that's kind of got a bounding box around it. So like this weapon is the size one, so it's weapon one bounding box is the size, so their artist knows what they're confined to.
Right.
And same thing with like the mounting parts on the ship. This is the mounts bounding box and where it can attach to the ship and range of motion, all that stuff. So,
Yeah, it's good that they're doing this. I think it makes a lot of sense.
like I
Just
said,
kind of
I kind of expected them to have done this long before now. Like that they're
yeah,
just doing this now makes me go, why did you wait so long? You should have done
yeah.
this like right away.
I
But
think they were just more concerned with getting Arena Commander out and
I guess, yeah.
yeah.
Now they almost have to go back and like retweak all this stuff that they've done.
They will. Yep.
Yeah, so I think it just makes more work if you don't standardize it ahead of time. Anyway,
Yeah.
they were saying that they want all their components to follow the same process too, so all the other components should fit inside bounding boxes and so forth. So cool.
Yeah, which is really cool.
Yeah. And then we have Ilphonic, which is, as many of you know, where they do a lot of their FPS work. Right now they're working on the FPS release, which, surprise of all surprises, won't be this month like they had talked, but it's going to be pushed back a couple of weeks. So
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's
That's
shocked. That's been here a
no.
while. Yeah.
Yep. That's just the nature of the beast.
They're also working on that recharging station for wireless recharge on your laser guns, which it sounds like it's actually currently working with all the models of laser guns that they have. So energy weapons like the electric shotgun, the pistol, the sniper rifle, the assault rifle, all those.
Yeah, so that'll bring an interesting dynamic to the first-person shooter because it looked like the energy weapons are going to have bigger clips, so to speak, but you don't have multiple clips, right?
Well, and it also
You have to go
sounded
to the
like,
station, right?
yeah, you gotta control the station to recharge too. So
Right.
crap.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that could be good or bad depending on how long the fight drags out.
Well, like if you're all running out of ammo, then you can't hit crap. You're terrible shots too. So. But it doesn't look like shooting is going to be that easy. Like it looks like it
No.
will be pretty hard.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and then they did have Travis, the producer Travis, I forget his last name, out there too. And like apparently on the forums they were saying that a lot of people are like, "Oh, he's going out to Ilphonic, they're in trouble. He's gonna crack the whip." And he's like, "No, I'm here because I want them to use me to crack the whip on other people." So
Right.
yeah, that's yeah,
It made
it
a
is
lot of
what it
sense.
is. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Well, anytime you can like walk down the hall and go, "Hey, what do you think of this? Can we do this?" and you got somebody there who's like, "Yes, do this," instead of having to compose an email, you know, send that off, all that junk. It saves so
yep.
much time.
Exactly. I think it makes total sense. I don't think he's there to. I don't think Elphonic was slacking. Let's put it
No,
that way.
yeah, I if anything, they probably need to have somebody there at each of the various places
Yeah.
that can fulfill Travis's role. They just can't. So,
Exactly.
yeah. And they did mention, well, not really mention, but more confirm that Rec will be an FPS. So, I think they
Woo.
mentioned that previously, though, so that's not really new news.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to see how the Zero G movement's updated, though, like the
Oh
most.
yeah.
Because, like, it looked fine, but it didn't look like groundbreaking, and they want to make it
Yeah.
groundbreaking, so I want to see what
Yep.
it looks like groundbreaking wise.
Yep. And I think that I was glad they addressed that because one of the biggest complaints that came out of PAX East with people who demoed the FPS was that the Zero G just didn't feel right,
Right.
And so it sounds like they knew that and that they're gonna fix that. So
Well, frankly, Zero G is going to be a huge part of the game when the PU comes out, so it's
right.
better to get it working now than later.
Exactly.
And then they cut from Milphonic to Austin, Texas, where they're working on persistent universe updates, where we've got everything from like sculptures of Terra and what it looks like, and using that for their 3D modeling, to solar panel props that they're putting on space stations, to having a programmer work on the mining gameplay that they had the design post on. So from the sounds of it, this sounds like they're trying to rush mining gameplay into the game so they can give people more to do than just frickin' fight.
Fight.
Yeah. Fight, 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 fight. I mean, I'm a fan of fighting, but like the promise of this game isn't fighting, it's, a freaking world, and there's more to the world than fighting.
Right. I
Not,
mean, I think
not to
I think
everybody, but to some people there is.
I think legitimately like only like 15 to 20% of the people are going to be fighting in this game at a time, and everybody else is going to be doing other stuff.
Right.
know.
Well, it's going to be so massive that like first you got to get to people, right?
Right.
Then you got to like fight them, and then afterwards you're going to be salvaging and going through their junk. It's like the
Right.
fighting will maybe last like 5-10 minutes, and then you'll be spending like 6 hours traveling or salvaging or doing other stuff or prepping for the fight.
Right. Right.
Unless you do a bunch of Arena Commander and Battle and Star Marine or whatever it's called.
Sure.
Yeah.
Or maybe if you like work for like the UE military or something, you're just
Right.
constantly getting set out on missions.
Oh, pirates in this sector? Let's go! Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, then they were also talking about how they wanted to have like a Star Citizen game demo at South by Southwest, but they ended up doing the video instead, which I'm pretty sure everybody's seen at this point. It's a cool video. I like it actually.
Yeah.
So, you know, I get what they're saying, like not everybody wants to play the game and more people would be interested in seeing the video than actually sitting down and playing it. So, plus they can post it online then too, which is
Yeah,
smart.
I felt like maybe if they had thought about it a little more, they could have done both. But it seemed like they kind of changed their mind at like
Well,
the
I
last
bet there
minute.
was some like logistics problems with actually playing the
Probably.
game.
Yeah,
Because
probably.
like when we watched the last week when we were watching the South by Southwest interview, it sounded like there was issues with the internet too. So like that
Oh
might have
yeah,
been another thing that kept them from actually demoing it.
yeah,
So
that makes a lot of sense.
yeah, well, and then they cut from there to Foundry 42 in the UK, where they talked about thrusters.
Woo,
Woo.
exciting.
And like he went into a little bit. Oh, last I was working on the Gladiator thruster, and there's like low tech effects and high tech effects, and like how they look and the differences, and blah 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 blah. And I was just kind of like,
Yeah, I
eh.
kind of sat there and I'm like, thrusters, neat.
Thrusters, yeah. And
Woo.
I got to be honest. When I was listening to him after a while, it just kind of trailed off. So I was just like, I think the difference between Foundry 42 and the other studios is Foundry 42 wants to tell you as much as possible, and the other studios are like, here's high level what's going on because we realize you're not going to listen to all the
Yeah,
minute details. So I kind of
yeah.
feel like Foundry 42, I really love all the information that they give, but at the same time, they need to like tone it back and kind of ahead of time go, all right, not everybody's going to want to listen to every little thing. Let's just give them the highlights.
Well, and I mean, in theory, eventually, like when you want the details for this stuff, it's going to come out in a post anyway. Like this is
Right.
one of the design posts, right? So like I agree with you. I think they should just save that. Just give us the high level overview of what they're doing, and then put all the technical stuff into the design post because it's more
Yeah.
palatable when you read it instead of hearing it. You know what I mean?
Kind of like they did with the landing stuff this time.
Yeah.
Like the landing design post that went with 1.1, they'd mentioned some stuff about landing, but it's not like they went into every little detail about landing. So,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah. Then from there, we went to an interview with senior game producer Justin Hutchins. I think that's correct. Uh,
Yeah.
we'll assume I'm right. He seemed like a super chill and laid back dude, actually, when I was
Yeah.
watching it. And I was like, oh, wait, this is during South by Southwest. So he's probably been like working his butt off for like a month. And
Yeah.
like now it's all done and he gets to like relax and drink and like chill out.
Yeah. Exactly.
So it might just be, I'm on kind of a mini vacation now compared to my normal day today. So, yeah. Um, he was talking about a little bit of what he did, and essentially, he made the joke, I'm kind of like a manager of all the game developers here, and then I'm also kind of a personal assistant to the
Right.
guy in charge of that studio. So
Producers.
it's
Yeah.
kind, yeah, so it's kind of, I do a little bit of both. And he really likes their cross studio design aspect that they've got, so you can get people that are all over kind of contributing. Um, and he was enjoying doing more of the game design towards this project because he was formerly a Blizzard employee that worked on World of Warcraft.
Another one.
Yeah, another one. I'm telling you, they're jumping ship.
Yep.
They
A
see
lot
the
of Blizzard people are jumping ship.
they see the writing on the walls and they're like, I'm out. WoW can't be sustained much longer. Cause
Yeah.
yeah, I talk to people that I used to play WoW with that still play WoW, and I'm like, why are you still playing WoW? And they're like, why aren't you still playing WoW? I'm like, these all of these reasons. And they're like, yeah, but it's WoW. And I'm like,
but but I just gave
but I
reasons
just gave
why
you why you
it is
shouldn't.
WoW.
Yeah,
Yeah, like shit.
yeah. I don't know. Well, and he was talking about the excitement of working on this game is that you have that vehicle 2 FPS combat is kind of like this sweet aspect that they've got. And he'd mentioned Battlefield 1942, and I'm like, I played that game as well.
Great game.
You're
Great game.
cool. Like anytime, I don't know what it is about humans, but anytime anybody mentions something that I also like, I'm like, this guy's all right.
It's true. It's like, hey, this guy likes something I like. We're friends.
We're friends now, instantly. Best friends. Like, we could absolutely hate each other's guts, but, he liked
Yeah.
Battlefield 1942, so.
Exactly.
He's all right, I guess.
Yeah, he's all right.
Yeah. And then he also mentioned, his love for Star Wars and Star Trek. And can it be both? And I'm like, yeah, it can be
Yeah,
both. Why not?
absolutely
Yeah.
can. Yeah,
Although
for real.
Empire would destroy the Federation. Let's just get this out of the
Uh,
way. I
we just have to be honest.
we have to be honest. But transporters are cool, so there you go.
That's true.
Yeah. Um, and other stuff you mentioned, detail is awesome, but it's also harder to put all this detail in. There's a lag time and logistics issues with working with the other studios, but they also get the talent all over the world. So overall, it was a fairly interesting interview, and I kind of liked the style of this interview because it seemed a lot more laid back. I don't know if it was because it was outside during South by Southwest, you could hear the music in the background, or
Yeah.
what it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. I like it when they're like, because a lot of the interviews they do, it's like one guy and another guy stuck in an office, uncomfortably close. Neither one is like super relaxed at the time because they're probably doing them at like end of the day Friday or something like that, or a really bad time to do an interview.
Right.
So who knows?
Yeah, it was nice. I think once they get into the new studio, they'll have a much more open space when they actually have the place that they're making specifically for video content. So I think it'll be a lot better. But it was cool they did it outside. It's a nice building.
One thing I was thinking, like, and I'm sure they're listening to me and like waiting for my suggestions, but what I was thinking they should do for like interviews is they should actually do it in kind of like a format. Like, if you've ever seen Clueless Gamer or one of those things like Conan O'Brien
Yeah.
does,
I
where
love
they're saying
Close Gamer. Yes.
yeah, where they're saying they're talking back and forth but playing the game. They should do something like that as their interview as they play like Star Citizen or something else.
Ooh, that would be cool. That's a good idea. I like that.
Something a little less formalized where it's like, oh, here's this thing that you were working on in the game that we're currently playing. Oh yeah, this was a pain to get working because of this. It would feel a lot more fluid and more dynamic if they did
Yeah.
in that type of format. But
I like that idea. I agree.
there, nobody will listen to me. Let's be honest.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. Well, and then at the end of the interview, Ben Lesnick's like, Hutchins, I just met him, and I'm like, oh,
God. Oh my God.
come on, Ben, no, just no.
Sandy's. Look on Sandy's
They're all like, what the
face.
hell? It's just, what the hell, Ben? He's like, it worked last week. Oh well. And then they cut to their MVP section, Borax. And I'm like, isn't that the cleaning agent, Borax? And the Hadrian Convention, which is a post he did similar to, like, an idea post about similar to the Geneva Convention, where they have a Hadrian Convention for all the various species and how prisoners of war are treated, etc. So
Yeah, I thought it was a cool post, actually. I went and read it just because,
I
hey, it's a good
I
idea.
didn't get a chance to read it, but yeah, it is a good idea.
Yeah.
And then they did Deep Space Disco for the org. They don't want to fight or anything like that. They just want to listen to music and dance. So I'm like, all right, let them listen to music and dance. Well,
I was surprised, this wasn't Disco Lando's org. Like,
that would be awesome. He's probably an honorary member, though.
He should be.
Yeah. And then from there, they did Sandy's flight school. Sandy was informing us that she needs a skit before she learns how to fly. So
Okay.
okay.
What have we decided? I just gotta get this out of the way. Have we decided what that piece of jewelry around her neck was? Like, that was a snake, right?
I have, I have no idea what it was. It looked weird. I don't know. It's one of
super
those
gaudy.
weird gaudy female jewelry things that they wear. I'm not. This is the problem when you've got two straight dudes talking about fashion. Oh.
Seriously, I'm like looking at it and I'm like, is that a snake? It really
It's
looks
like-
like a snake.
She's not wearing jeans and t-shirts, so my sense of
those-
fashion just goes. I don't know what's going on ever.
I know. I was just like, whoa, that is quite the piece of jewelry. Like, you can't help but look at it. You're just like, what is it?
It was so weird. Like, I'm like, what the hell is that? Oh, whatever.
All right,
Moving on. So this time they talked about the HUD system and how that works. So, you've got your F1 through your F4 keys, which switch to the different menus. Your F1 keys, your overview screen, and then you got power management and weapon management, grouping, all that stuff.
Right.
And then he talked a little bit about EM and IR, which EM is your electromagnetic, IR is your infrared, and the noise that they produce when you're doing stuff on your ship. And then the IFCS, which is the Intelligent Flight Control System, which has your coupled, your G-Safe, your ComStab, your ESP, so
Right.
anybody who's been flying a lot of Arena Commander has used most of or all of these previously. Yeah. It
Right.
I would say you don't really need to know it to play though. Like 90% of the time
No.
I don't bother with any of that. Sometimes I'll do coupled, sometimes, G-Safe, that type of thing, but like you don't really need to know how to control most of that to enjoy the game.
No, you don't. I mean, if you're new to the game and you haven't really played a lot of it, this stuff is actually pretty advanced. That being said, I thought they did a really good job
Oh, yeah.
presenting this. I thought this was an extremely informative,
Hmm.
uh, Sandy's flight school
Like
segment.
if you're trying to like get more intuitive with like the minutia and controlling your power allocation and your shield management and all that, I thought this was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it use your numpad for quick keys for shield management, use the 1, 2, 3 keys for grouping and power allocation and all that. It was very good.
Yeah, yeah.
So then we had the outro where they mentioned the jump point and retaliator issue is out. So everybody who's a subscriber gets the swanky jump point retaliator stuff. And then, of course, they mentioned patch 1.1 should be dropping today. And then they had the disclaimer text where it's like, no, it didn't drop today. Disaster struck. I thought, oh, that was so funny.
That was good.
Yeah. Then we had an art sneak peek which had armor in it, which kind of, I don't know, like at first I thought that was like heavy armor, but
Yeah.
I couldn't quite tell. Maybe it's medium armor. I don't know. It was brown and they
Yeah.
had the enclosed helmet like the heavy armor though, right?
Yeah, I thought it was the medium, but I could be wrong. It looked medium-ish. I don't know.
Yeah, it didn't
If
look
that
like it
makes
had a
sense.
ton of armor to it. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Whatever.
whatever. It looked cool. It looked good. I like the
It did.
detail. But isn't that all changing in a couple of months anyway when they redo the armor system? So,
Probably.
or is that the armor that they're upgrading to? I just don't know now. What is
I
the
would
sneak peek
assume
for?
it's what they're upgrading to, right? I don't know.
I
Anyway.
guess. I don't know. And then they showed a bunch of old photos of Star Citizen CIG peeps. It
Yeah.
was like, oh, I recognize you instantly before they even show the old photo of who that is, So
Yeah.
that was cool. And then, Chris, I think, has the nerdiest old photo of him.
Oh God.
Yeah, it's like, oh, that's super nerdy. I totally, that would be something I would wear, nerdy level,
Yeah. Chris is definitely classed up a little
Oh, a little
since
bit,
the
yeah.
old days.
Yeah. Then let's talk Star Citizen 1.1, dude.
Yeah.
So this is the big thing this week is we got 1.1.1. I'm sorry, 1.1.0. Next one's going to be 1.1.1, which will have FPS in it.
Although they are talking about redoing their version number system because they're afraid people are getting confused.
Right,
But
because
anyway.
like I saw a forum post actually how they shouldn't call it Star Citizen 1 because that usually means the development release of the game. And
Right.
I kind of agree with that. And,
Yeah. And I just read on the forums that Ben Lesnick said that they are talking about redoing it because
yeah.
they kind of get where people are coming from with that. And I tend to agree. I think it would be better if this was, 0.01.1 or whatever.
Right, right. Like Star Citizen 0.1 point, yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that would make more sense. So with this one, if you haven't done it yet, you need to do a clean install. So you got to delete your old Star Citizen stuff and add the new. Apparently, this is to help fix with all these patching issues and so forth. So I did it. I had to do it twice. The first time failed, and then the second
really?
time worked fine for me. So that was annoying, but I have a decent internet connection, so it didn't take very long.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then we also got the Retaliator package and the Gladius package with this patch. I looked the other day. Retaliator was $300 for the package, $275 for the standalone ship. This is in USD, in case anybody's wondering. And then we had the Gladius was 105 and the standalone ship was 90. So, and I looked at that 90 and I'm like, it's only 90.
It's only $90.
I blow more than that on stupid stuff all the time.
I just spent more on that on anime in the last week.
Yeah, I could totally afford it. And yeah.
Yeah.
So I might get one. I don't know.
I don't
I'm
know.
trying to be good. I'm trying to be
I
good
know.
and not.
I'm the same way. Like I was
Yeah.
so close to buying a Retaliator, and
That looks like such a cool ship, dude.
I know, I know.
You're like, shut up, stop
Uh,
talking. Stop convincing me it's awesome.
I just I just spent a lot of money on new clothes the other day, so I like don't need to be spending money on this. But
Yeah, you actually care about your appearance, I forget.
eh,
Yeah.
I guess I'm trying.
Yeah, yeah. Then we have the new manual which came out with this, which I actually read through some of it. They had some nice lore stuff, especially with all the Vandal fighter aces and like all that in there. So that was
Yeah,
pretty cool.
I agree. That was really cool.
And it talked about like the differences between them, which I hadn't really noticed in playstyle when I'd played, but I'll look out for it now.
Yeah.
Then we had the Simpod in our hangars, and I actually got in mine. I felt it was super claustrophobic. Like if it was real, and like I wasn't in the game, and I was, you know what I mean. Like if it was a real
Yeah.
Simpod I was hopping into, I'd be like, oh man, this is super claustrophobic.
I don't get bothered by that kind of stuff, so
I don't
yeah,
get
I'd be fine
bothered
with
until I get trapped. Like I didn't realize like I was bothered by stuff like that until I was in college and taking this like really old elevator, which fit like maybe two people in it. It was that old and tiny, and like I hit a button to go up like two floors, and all of a sudden it stopped, and it took like a really long time, and I'm starting to get like this panicky feeling like, oh crap, I'm trapped, and it's not one of those ones that has like the top hatch that you can open or anything like that. So I was like,
Yeah.
no. And then it opened after like 2 minutes, and I'm like, wow, I'm taking the stairs, on the way back down. And then I realized maybe I'm a little claustrophobic. I didn't think I
I
was.
think you might be a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. Well, and then there was the 64-bit conversion with this patch as well. So that's a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff that they're prepping for the larger maps, the more ships, all that
Right.
stuff. So that'll be
Yay.
cool. Then we got REC, rental
Get
equipment
wrecked.
credits. So
Got
now
wrecked.
when you do the competitive, which they're considering public Vandalstorm competitive,
Yep.
you'll be earning rental equipment credits, which you can use to rent in-game swag.
Woohoo! Public Vandal Swarm, here I come.
How did I know?
Almost like you play games with me.
All the time, yeah.
Yeah.
Then, of course, this introduces the new mount system we were talking about for weapons. They've got the new damage system, which they've shown off with the Gladius. New landing system we mentioned previously. So let's talk about that landing system a bit, actually. So
Yeah.
it kind of came out with this landing guide, and essentially there's 6 parts to landing. You've got targeting, entry, request, approach, alignment, and landing. So targeting, you can target the landing zone and have it pop up on your HUD's display. So like where your sensor ball is in the middle, it will show the landing pad.
Right.
Entry is kind of like your, uh, it's you just approach it. Let's be honest. Like they have all
Yeah,
these
it was.
steps. I felt it was like overly complicated.
Yeah.
You target it, you fly towards it. They say yeah, you can land, and then you like approach it. You line up so that you've got your front and back matching in line with the actual pad, and then you just kind of lower yourself down until you've landed. I mean, they make
Yeah.
it sound super complicated with the SIP steps, but it's really not as complicated as they make it out to be. I feel.
No, it's not complicated at all. I
Yeah.
haven't actually tried it. I've watched a couple videos of people doing it, and I'm like, oh, this is cake.
Yeah.
Like, this is super easy, which is good because it should be easy because there's no stupid reason you should be killing yourself on landing pads all the time.
No, it's funny every time you do.
It is funny.
It makes me laugh so hard. And you pretty much engage landing and docking by pressing the N key too. So when you get near it, and with this, they've kind of added that to the free flight multiplayer they added too. So now you can fly around with your friends, hop in each other's ships after you've landed, shoot each other while you're on the landing pad, and hijack their stuff.
Yeah, I really like that they're doing that. I saw a really cool video of a guy standing on the landing pad while ships went as fast as they could past him, and they had like the 350R and the M50 just buzzing by this guy, just as close as they could get to him.
Nice.
And it's amazing how fast these ships go. I mean, they're legitimately moving 250 meters per second or whatever it is. Like, it is awesome to just see how fast they just fly by you.
Well,
And
it's
even
so hard
when,
to tell when you're we've
exactly.
got yeah.
Right,
That's
because you're all
cool.
moving relatively about the same speed, so
Yeah.
it doesn't really look like you're going that fast.
Hmm.
So, and then they also had like a 350R like on the platform with him take off, like and it's amazing how fast that thing just shoots out of view. It's like 2 seconds and you can't see him anymore.
Like, where'd it
It's
go?
awesome. Yeah,
That is
it's
really
super
cool.
cool.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway,
I'm getting hyped, man. I'm sorry.
get get hyped.
Getting hyped. They did do a lot of other stuff with this patch. Some user interface changes. They've got like visual overheat warnings in the HUDs. Displays of ESP,
Yeah.
rental equipment credit scoreboard, ping value to the scoreboard, altimeter for landing and docking. You've
Right.
got um, other stuff like I think people got the Xi'an ship miniature and the Cartual ship miniature. So
Ooh.
cool.
Yay.
Yeah.
That's my
Um,
favorite ship.
yeah, and there's some other balance tweaks to some of the ships, like 300 series have had their wing mount size changed, and, updating lighting systems, so forth. So, a lot of standard balance tweaks. There's still stuff wrong. Like
Yeah.
I really like their bug known issues list, where they're like, oh, weapon fire can appear offset from weapon muzzle when firing while moving, and all this stuff. And it's like,
That's kind of a big
that's
deal.
kind of, lateral G-force head animations is too fast, which causes the camera to jerk around while strafing. It's like, so gameplay breaking stuff still in there.
Yeah, it's all right.
Yeah. Um, so yeah, they've got the full patch notes for if you want to read every single little thing. There's quite a bit there, so it will take you a while.
Yep.
Let's cut over to 10 for the Chairman 42. So
Yay.
10 for the Chairman 42 was 19 minutes and 10 seconds long, so kind of a short one for what he normally puts out there. He tends to
Yeah.
ramble a lot more, which I'm
He
actually
only
fine with
rambled.
because I really enjoy what he rambles because it's super
I know
interesting. Yeah,
it is.
yeah,
He really only rambled on like one question this time.
yeah. First thing you mentioned was FPS has been pushed back a few weeks, and no shock there, like we mentioned.
Hmm.
Then he had some swag. There was a UE recruiting poster he got, some org decals, Trident coin, all that stuff. They'll look cool. So I want swag. It all looked
Right?
really cool. Uh, First question was about repairing Gold Horizon space stations. So this was the Gold Horizon space stations are, supposed to be run down and stuff like that. And if we take over a Gold Horizon as an organization, what can we do to like spruce it up, make it look cooler? Um, Essentially, probably not even going to want a Gold Horizon space station long term. They're talking to have multiple types of space stations with like multiple rooms. Also, your hangars are going to be getting more modules that so you can add to them, various rooms and things like that. So maybe you can eventually. It didn't really come down one way or another, but it did sound like they are planning to make the world customizable and upgradable
Right.
for whatever you acquire. So sweet.
Yep. Yeah, it sounds like it's in the pipeline, but it might not be out right day one.
Yeah. Then the second question was about further detail about taxation. No taxation.
Get hyped, accountants.
Oh,
Get
no,
hyped.
get hyped. Oh, well, let me crunch some numbers here.
Let me pull out my spreadsheet.
I got my calculator ready and my abacus.
Your abacus. What fucking year is it, dude?
1962.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. We went back in time. So the trade and consumption taxes will be on there, landing fees, sales taxes, value-added taxes, organization taxes, stuff like that. But it doesn't sound like you'll have any IRS or anything to worry about.
Right.
I was interested in the org tax, but at the same time, I don't want to have an org tax on my org. Like, I want people to
Oh,
be
I won't.
able to be in there but not worry
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
But that said, if I do an org tax that's like, this is the fund we're using to collect for like Bengal carrier or something like that one
Right.
day. I
Right.
could see doing something like that. But like, just the tax for the sake of taxing, I feel stupid.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you want to play Eve, you can. I'm joking.
Aw.
Not all Eve orgs were, that strict and stuff. But yeah, I feel like I would prefer an org where it's just like just donate what you can when you can.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, I want to have like a goal for the org to be a fund to get a super cool ship that we then use for the org, but
Yeah.
not like, oh, you need to give me this many credits, or else,
Right, or else we're kicking you out.
you're out. You're out of the org, man. Yeah. And then they talked a bit about natural areas in the verse, so like parks, grassy areas, etc. Sounds like it depends on where you're going to be. Like ArcCorp won't really have them, but Terra will have like vast parks that you can explore and stuff like that. So
And then they even showed a sneak peek of one.
yeah, not everything is going to be straight up metal and buildings, but I kind of
Ooh.
hope when we finally get our own planets and stuff, is you can have like your little outpost in the middle of nowhere, and then like nothing but like grassland as far as the eye can see.
Yeah, you want your cabin in the woods.
Oh yeah,
That
totally.
kind of
That'd
thing.
be cool.
Yeah.
Just without monsters under it,
Hopefully.
hopefully, or maybe with monsters. That would be sweet.
Yeah, you never know. This is Star Citizen, man. We've got lasers. Bring the monsters on. Frickin' lasers.
Freaking lasers, man. And then it's like a mirror monster, and we're like, "Aw, come on,
Oh
no."
no.
And then we also had FPS environmental hazards was asked about. So they're going to be like flammable canisters that explode, environmental destruction that will hurt people. Yeah, sounds
Yep.
like they've already got it in the game. And he was even talking there'll be like steam pipes. So like you burst a steam pipe if it's hot, would that damage people? Or maybe it will push them off balance, that type of thing. So
Yep, and they've kind of alluded to that in the past, and
yeah.
yeah, it's good confirmation.
That'll be really sweet, actually, if you can set up
Yeah.
ambushes based on the environment. So, like,
Oh,
you're alone, they're coming at you with, like, a squad, but, like, oh, I know if I shoot this canister or I burst that pipe, that will even the
right.
odds. So, yeah,
Yeah, exactly.
that'll be cool. And then we have the storeroom, I'm sorry, store or in your hangar. So your hangars can hold goods, but, there's going to be a limit, so for example, the Orion can store a crap ton of ore in it. You might not have that much room in your hangar. And so
Makes sense.
storage is kind of going to be whatever you've got space you can store. If you don't have the space, you can't store it.
Right.
Yeah. Then organic ships. And like when I first heard this question, I'm like, oh, you're thinking like Yuzhang Vong, you're thinking like Lex, you're thinking,
Yeah.
all those. And it's like, I, I've never really been a huge fan of organic ships, I
I
have to
haven't either.
say.
No.
Like they've always seemed kind of to me, but
Yeah, they just, I don't know. They seem weird.
yeah.
But that could be because we're humans and we've relied entirely on, inorganic manipulation of our environment.
Well,
Seed.
yeah, but
For
we
the
can
most
ride
part.
horses and stuff.
Yeah. Oh boy.
Oh boy, yeah. And essentially, right away, no. Long term, they might introduce some alien races that would have them, but we'll have to see.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would kind of be weird. It would be like a hybrid between organic and like metal, and you could have ships that like have laser cannons attached to like an organic hull. It would be strange to me. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah.
And what would like they
Weird.
shoot?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Seeds.
Oh, well, okay. Then next question was about ship spoofing, which is in the works. So that's where you kind of change your IFF to make people think that you're another class of ship or have a different name, etc. This will be used by like pirates and by anybody trying to break the law, or maybe you're working for the law and you need to pass as some sort of disreputable person in a sector to get access. Maybe you're a bounty hunter, that type of thing.
Right.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's cool though.
Yeah.
I like that we can do it.
And then non-combat ship relevancy. So this was a question based on the hard points. So on the website, a lot of the hard points for the non-combat ships always look like they have less hard points than the combat ships.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't judge by the hard points because we only really show you the weapon-related ones. We don't show you all of the ones. So, the non-combat ships might in some cases have more hard points than the combat ships, in which case you can do even more with them and have even more converting and so forth. So
Exactly.
kind of interesting.
Calm down, people.
Calm down.
Just because the Hornet's really good in Arena Commander doesn't mean it's going to be the bee's knees
It's like
in the PU.
it's like the Reddit post I saw. Somebody's like, "Don't get the Cutlass Black because it's got the same armament as a Hornet, but it's not as maneuverable." And I'm just like,
Die.
they're two different ships, dude.
Right.
They're two
Right.
different purposes.
exactly.
Ah,
That actually makes me want to buy it more because I'm like, man, that thing does
that's
have a
doing it.
lot of guns on
Yeah,
it. And
considering what
other
class it
stuff.
is, yeah, no
Right,
kidding.
and it's plenty maneuverable.
Yeah,
Like, anyway,
side to side anyway.
nerds.
Nerds. Then we also had search players for weapons, scanning functionality, and FPSs for looting and all that they have already. So it sounds like, yeah, maybe we can add it to the gameplay for like letting people aboard your ship, you scan them for weapons first, which I kind of feel like there should be a counter gameplay too of being able to hide them from scanners. So
Yeah,
like it should be, oh, I'm doing this to hide it, I'm doing this to detect it, and like whoever does the better job should, win.
I agree with you there. I would assume that's how it's going to work out. I mean, it sounded like it
Yeah.
was something that he hadn't really thought of,
Hmm.
and he was kind of like, "Oh, hey, yeah, that's probably something we should have in the game."
Yeah. Well, it makes sense. Like if somebody pats you down, I personally, if I don't know you, I'm making you strip naked before you
Yeah.
get on my ship.
Put all your inventory in this crate.
Yep.
Then I'm going to look through the crate. Okay, you're good. You
Yep.
know.
Yep. Exactly. Now you can come aboard. And then we had flying a ship without a HUD. Yeah, it's possible, but you probably don't want to. And some HUDs, like some ships, you'll need a HUD. For like fighter pilots, you'll need the pilot setup so you can fly it. But other ships, you won't necessarily need the helmet, the flight suit, all that. It'll be built into the actual screens of the ship itself. And I'm glad this question was asked because I was kind of wondering about that myself. Is like, how is this all going to work?
Yeah, and I felt like this gave us some really interesting detail into how uh, like armor and body modification stuff is going to work.
Yeah.
So like your armor has to have certain connections if you're going to fly a Hornet, so the Hornet can interface with you as the pilot, so it knows
Yep.
everything that it needs and it can show you the HUD. But civilian ships, it sounds like, won't require as much of that. So civilian ships, it's like you were in the brothel all night and they took all your clothes and all your stuff, so you come back to the ship with nothing but you and your briefs, and you can still fly it. But
You've clearly thought about this.
not so much. Maybe I have.
You've
All
clearly
right.
experienced this. What?
No,
Oh.
no, no. Next question.
Next question. Moving on. Segue. There's the Google. Wow.
Gloogle?
Google.
The Gloogles?
You're welcome. The Google Cloud Platform. So apparently some Google back dudes. I don't know what their official titles are, but they were talking with them at South by Southwest about potentially making it a Google Cloud platform.
Yeah.
So, and the fact that some of them are backers of Star Citizen kind of works in their favor, I suppose.
Kind of helps.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it sounds like this will greatly expand what they originally thought they could do in terms of like numbers of people per instance, possibly.
And scope, size, etc. Yeah, it'll be interesting if they get that working, but it's all early stages, quote unquote. So
Right,
see.
right. It sounds like they're just in discussion more than anything.
Yeah. And then they had the sneak peek. This was the Outlaw Heavy armor. That's the same armor that they showed previously for sure. It's got the red eyes, the black, all that.
It had extra plating on it though, so yeah, I think the one they showed before was the medium, and this
Yeah.
one was the heavy, right?
Unless they're both different types of heavy.
That could be.
Oh,
Yeah, that could be. This one definitely had more plating on it though.
for sure.
So
It looked cool.
I liked it a lot.
Yeah. And then from there we had the data cache, which was a retrieval of data for an A Santos, which is Adrian Santos, if we learn if you read it. You get a chance to read through this?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah.
And I thought it was actually really interesting. On
Yeah.
a couple levels.
So she's some sort of information broker or spy or professional whatever. And it was email correspondence between her and somebody else. I don't remember the name.
They don't really to Micah Pierce.
Oh
who
yeah.
We don't really know who that is,
Yeah.
as far as I know. Sounds like it could be a business person of some kind. Is what I gathered.
Yeah.
Who kind of skirts UEE law a little bit to
Mhm.
get stuff done. And he hired this lady, Adriana Santos. Maybe she's some kind of infiltrator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like kind of, and it sounded like she was maybe supposed to either assassinate or somehow sabotage someone in this
Yeah.
like enclave.
Yeah, so she was sent to the Delmar plant. Is that a planet or is that a station? I don't remember.
I don't
She was
really
sent to
know.
Delamar, which is in the Nix system, to kind of investigate this guy, Executive Allard. Um, and it sounded like she was kind of hired to find the best way to use the people there to help out this Pierce guy with his slave operations he wants to run,
Right.
slaver operations. So, like, the way this looked is it sounded like Allard had hired a hacker to presumably get these records so he could look through this. So
Yeah.
I'm kind of hoping she's dead now. I'm just gonna throw that out there because she totally is an amateur. Like she went native, she went against her mission, all this stuff, and I'm like, I kind of hope she's dead now. Like have some professionalism. If you're gonna be an infiltrator, have some professionalism. Don't go native.
Right. No, it was definitely a little interesting. It was kind
Yeah.
of like, wow, she just totally like just like screwed this guy. Like, wow.
Well, like he's a scumbag, so you're supposed to hate him, right? But like I'm looking at it from like a boss perspective, where she was hired to do a job. It doesn't matter if she gave me the money back. She spent valuable time of my time wasting my time to go native. It doesn't
Right.
matter if she gave me the money back. There's still the time investment that I've now wasted on her. So like I would totally hire people to kill her if I was the crime boss. I'm just saying.
You would make a good Niska.
Thank
That's
you.
all I have to say.
Yeah.
It would make a good one thing that I found kind of
He likes
interesting
to
about
stand at
this.
the door and go boo.
Yeah. Wow. uh, one thing I found kind of interesting about this was the hacker that this executive Allard hired was named Cire Facius, which is Latin. And I recognize Facius. I didn't recognize Cire right off the bat, but Cire is the present tense of Cio, which is like knowledge or to know, and then Facius is to like to put or to place something. So it's like a knowledge placer or something like that. It's kind of a cool. I thought it was a cool little touch they put in there. That kind of is a cool hacker name in a way.
Nerd.
Nerd. I recognize the Latin, and I'm like, oh, I recognize the second word. I don't know the first word though. And I decided to look it up.
Yeah.
Nerd.
Yeah.
I'm a nerd.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. I'm just gonna agree with you. I mean,
Well, it's true.
yeah. So there was a bit this week for Star Citizen stuff, but not as much as we've had. So it was kind of nice to like have a week where it's like I didn't have to spend 3 hours watching videos.
Oh God.
But
I mean,
not that I
to
hate
be
watching the
honest,
videos, but
no,
the
I
the
like
problem
it.
is I can't enjoy them as much because I'm always taking notes for this. So like
Right.
it's kind of like I'm not. It's almost like you're watching it. I almost watch these twice in a way, where like,
Yeah.
oh, I watch it to enjoy it, and I also watch it to take notes for flight deck.
Yeah. Exactly. I mean, we spend a lot of time every week combing through this stuff and going over it. So it's awesome that there's so much content. But yeah, you're right. This week was nice because I was like, all right, there's just around the verse, the new patch, the 10 for the chairman,
Yeah.
and then a little short lore thing.
Yep.
Awesome. Perfect.
I'm hoping this is like the calm before the storm when the FPS drops out, and we just
Oh
like
my
have
We're gonna have
3 hour
like
video. Yeah.
I know. We're gonna have a huge. We're gonna have to do like a separate video probably just for like FPS stuff.
We'll see. I mean,
We'll see.
I don't know. Well, yeah.
we're like, we're like publicly lamenting this. We're like, oh my
We're like,
god.
oh my god, it's gonna be so much, you guys. You don't even know. It'll be so
maybe
fun,
if this
though.
was my full-time job,
Oh,
I'd be very gung ho about it, but it's not.
what? What? It's not?
I
No
know.
way. Our production quality so led to
It's
me.
so through the roof. Our mics never like bleed over or anything. We don't
Hey,
just have
hey.
like a static image on the video.
You know what? You know what?
No.
That's fair. So let's talk one cool thing, which actually I think came out yesterday that you'd mentioned to me was the TIE Fighter animated short film,
So good.
which was a dude who's essentially has spent years solo putting together his little animated short film of like Rebel fleet versus an Imperial fleet, and like it's kind of like a 90s animation Jap anime style.
Yeah, it is.
Which-
It's very like 80s, early 90s.
Mm.
anime, even a little bit of like I kind of felt like
It'd be,
the Heavy Metal 2000. If you've
yeah,
seen that,
yeah.
yeah, it kind of felt like that a little bit too.
It'd be so good. Like, if this was like a legit series that was on, I would watch it all the
Oh,
time for
I would
sure.
watch the absolute shit out of it. This is really good. This is so
So
cool.
good. Yeah. Like I have to say, it made me really want to play more X-Wing Alliance and TIE
Yeah,
Fighter.
yeah,
Like
I
I'm
know.
like, oh, gotta play it. But then you hop in, it's nowhere near as awesome looking as it is in the video. So,
Yeah,
um,
the style he put together was really cool. It just was gorgeous to watch. I mean, the detail on those ships, on the capital ships especially, oh my god, just incredible. And the fights were just beautiful and really well done. And God, I hope somebody hires him to do this for a living because it's amazing.
like, could you imagine if Disney did this instead of
Oh,
Star Wars Rebels and Clone
right,
Wars and all those other terrible ones that are awful?
right. Put it on ABC, right? Because you know you can't put it on the Disney Channel. Put it on ABC and just frickin' do
Rake
it
in the
because
monies.
it would be huge. It would be huge.
Yeah, rake in
Uh,
the monies.
seriously, like they're sitting on this cash cow that is Star Wars, and if they do it right, they can make even more money than they probably realize.
Here's the thing that's been killing me about Star Wars lately, right? Because I'm coming from it from like an 80s to 90s to early 2000s Star Wars look, where it's all like the expanded universe and like Star Wars was cool, right?
Right.
Where you've got, Thrawn, you've got like intrigue, you've got battles, you've got the highlight of Star Wars games, which was the X-Wing series and Rebellion and Dark
Yep.
Forces, Jedi Cat, all that stuff. And now like Star Wars isn't so cool anymore because they're not going with like these young adult to adult themes. They're going with the family oriented themes in a
Right.
lot of ways, which is killing it because
Yep.
Empire Strikes Back is a pretty dark movie.
Yeah, it's a really dark movie.
Like he's cutting off hands, all this stuff.
Right. People are getting frozen in frickin' carbonite.
Right, but then you cut to Phantom Menace, Attack of the Clones, and every other released uh, thing that they've done since then, and it's more kitty jokes
Yep.
and stupid stuff like this. And like, yeah, we still do like the arms cutting off, but then you also have that 40 minutes of film wasted on a terrible interaction of romance, which is laughable. Like, not even teenagers are that bad at romance, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Ah,
Oh man, I know. The prequels were just so frustrating. I
like,
mean, like so much potential and
yeah.
just crapped all over it.
And like
Just
this TIE Fighter animated short film reminds me of like the awesomeness that is Star Wars. And like if you put in like, imagine if they had done the Hand of Thrawn trilogy. Like,
yes.
boom, movie, great, tons of awards, everybody loves Star Wars, greatest thing ever, blah 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 blah. George
Yeah.
Lucas is still the man.
Yeah.
But
That's all they had to do. It boggles my mind to this day that they never did that. I mean, they were. I
recast it. I don't care.
I don't
Recast
give a
it.
fuck. Right? Who
It's a
cares?
great story. You can recast whoever you can find the
Right.
best actors possible, recast it.
Right. Exactly. And I mean, not only that, like let's be honest, like 80% of Hollywood movies that do really well and are critically acclaimed come from really good novels, right?
Or
So
comic
why
books
would you,
now. Yeah.
yeah, or comic books or graphic novels,
Yeah.
whatever, written material of some kind.
Hmm.
And so like, why not take the greatest Star Wars, like unanimously agreed upon as the greatest Star Wars novels and
Yeah.
turn them into movies? Like just come on,
Like
it's a no brainer.
when
Jesus.
when I was in college and sitting there programming, and I've got all these people that have like Star Wars, but they weren't into it as me, and they're like, "Oh, you've read a lot of the expanded universe books." Yeah, I have a friend who did that. What would be like the book series I should start with? And they're like, "Well, don't worry about chronological order. Here's what you need to read."
Yep.
Hand of Thrawn trilogy. Boom,
Yep.
done. I,
Yep.
I didn't even have to think about it. They're not even like my favorite Star Wars books. They're just the ones you have to read, you know?
Right.
So,
No, I mean they're the ones you read first every time. They're just so good.
yeah. And, so
I know.
frustrating. And
I know.
this is why I'm like at the point now where I'm just kind of wanting to get rid of all my Star Wars stuff, which is a lot of stuff. Because
Yeah.
the more they come out with, the more devalued all of it becomes.
Right.
Like, I'm trying to like Star Wars Rebels, and I tried to like
Uh,
the Clone Wars, and I tried to like all these things, and I just can't.
I mean, the Clone Wars animation was okay.
It got
I
better
think
towards
it's
the end until they
yeah,
had some weird episodes with like Yoda and like some weird Force stuff, and I'm like, this is dumb.
yeah. I think it's a little overvalued. I think a lot of people think that the Clone Wars cartoons were better than they were, just because they were so much better than everything else that was coming out. You know what I mean?
I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah, comparatively speaking, yeah, they were pretty good.
Yeah,
But like when I go back and watch them now, I'm kind of like, I could do without these. I really they
they
aren't.
had no value to it. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. So we'll see. I'm expecting like this new movie that's coming out. What? It's coming out this year, isn't it? Like in December?
is it?
Is that right?
I thought it was next year yet.
No.
This is like that's how sad. I don't even know. This is something like I should know the answer to, and this is how not hyped I am. I don't know the answer.
Wow. That is yeah. That's pretty incredible that you don't even know.
Yeah, I know.
Um,
It's like if anybody should know, it should be me, and I really don't care. Like it'll
yeah.
come out when it comes out. That's how not
Right.
excited I am.
But I'm like totally expecting like Thrawn to be in this fucking movie, like
No.
just to be like, yeah,
That would be the
we
only
did
thing
it.
they could do to redeem it for me, and they won't do that. I'm sorry, it won't happen. Like
I doubt it too.
if all of a sudden like even like as an end credits, right? Because we know how much they love end credits now at Disney. Even if it was like an end credits, it was like cutting to like a dude in like an imperial officer's uniform walking up behind another dude sitting in the table, and all you see is like a blue hand on it, right? Even if that was all it was, that would totally redeem it, and I would think it's the greatest thing ever. They won't do that.
No, I don't think so either. They said in so I was reading a post about a new book that they're putting out for this stuff because there's been a couple books that have come out that are official canon with the new movies. Like there's
Oh
a
yeah.
book all about Tarkin, which
Ugh.
is actually pretty good from what I've heard, but
Okay.
I haven't read it obviously. And
Well,
there was
first question: who wrote it? Because they have like
I
one
don't
of
know.
six authors that they usually go to for stuff like that.
I don't remember who wrote it actually, but it takes place in between 3 and 4, episodes 3 and 4, and
Okay.
it's all about like Tarkin doing his thing, which I've heard is pretty good. But they were talking about there's going to be a book coming out here. I think it's next month or the month after. That is the first book to officially take place after Return of the Jedi, and they said that they're not completely discounting EU stuff. So we'll see what that means, because apparently they're not.
Because
They're,
courtship of
who
Princess
knows?
Leia doesn't count. You
Yeah.
know, all that
Ugh.
stuff doesn't count.
That was a really good book. Um,
Yeah, but it
yeah,
doesn't count, man.
I
Neither
know
does
it
the
doesn't
X-wing
count,
series.
right? I imagine they're gonna pull some stuff like some of the ships is what I'm guessing they mean. Like they're gonna be like, oh yeah,
Oh
there's
yeah.
there's totally interdictor frigates, and there's totally assault
Well, like
assault frigates.
they've already started stealing stuff like that. Like they had ISB agents, the Inquisitor, all that stuff. That like, oh
Yeah,
yeah, we don't really want to get rid of this stuff because there's so much really good content. Like I get wanting to get rid of a lot of that crap because there was a lot of crap that
hmm
was terrible. But let like there was a lot of really cool stuff too, which they're trying to keep. So I kind of appreciate that they're kind of trying to clear house, but like to just blanket say none of it matters until we say it matters again just pisses me off. It totally
I'm there with
does.
you. I know. It just feels like our childhood was like ripped out from under us.
Oh, it
They're
totally
like, oh,
was.
all those books that you loved reading as
Yeah,
a kid.
none
Yeah,
of them
fuck
matter.
you.
Yeah.
Eat shit and die. Like, what?
I'm like,
Come
man,
on,
that's
man.
harsh, Disney. Why are you
Yeah,
saying these
God.
things to me?
Yeah. Come on, Disney.
Man, you seem so cute and cuddly until you came across like this.
What? What am I, Simba's dad and you're Mufasa? Come on.
Oh,
Come on.
it got dark. Oh man. Dang you, TIE
Anyway,
Fighter animated short film. I
I
didn't want
know.
to talk about my
We just,
hatred for what they're doing to Star Wars.
I know, we just went
How,
nuts because we're like,
how dare
Star
you
Wars,
be
Star Wars,
something
Star Wars.
awesome that makes it redeemable and then rip the curtain out from under us? Come on.
Because it has nothing to do with Disney, that's why.
Oh, and that's why it's so good.
I know. I would love it if Disney made us eat our words, but
Oh, that
anyway.
I would love that too. Well,
Uh,
like I actually posted a while ago, like what we wish Star Wars still was, and it was a shot of Luke versus Vader lightsaber fighting on Cloud City. right?
Yeah.
What we wish Star Wars still was, and what Star Wars is now. And it was a shot of like Mickey Mouse and Minnie Mouse, and like Mickey Mouse is dressed like a Jedi, Minnie Mouse is dressed like Princess Leia. And then they have like a Goofy as Darth Vader, and then there's an R2D2 with like mouse ears on it in the photo. And I'm like, oh,
And is it like George Lucas in it, looking really depressed? Like,
that would
oh
be
God, what have I
perfect.
done?
That would be perfect. But no, he was not there.
Damn it, that would be hilarious.
Oh.
God.
Well, you know
anyway.
what? I'm gonna make my own Star Wars thing in a private server of
Blackjack
Star
and
Citizen
hookers.
with blackjack and hookers. Yes. Oh,
All
well,
right.
you know,
let's stop with
we should
Star
put a
Wars.
disclaimer. Just ignore the last 10 minutes of this episode because it's all
You're
about
not
Star
obsessed
Wars.
with Star Wars. Just run.
Just run.
get the fuck out.
I'm sure we've already lost several people by now.
Yeah.
They're like, all they're doing is talking about Star Wars now. I'm out.
Well, I would assume at least like half of our listeners are like
Huge
hardcore Star Wars fans,
And they're either totally agreeing with us or hating our guts right now.
I would say mostly agreeing with us, but
Yeah.
you know, if you want to hate on us, that's fine too. That's legit. That's
Yeah.
fine. We deserve it.
We totally do. Anyway, that is
All
it for
right,
this
anything
week.
else?
I don't
No?
know.
Yeah, nothing.
That's it,
We're
right?
done? We're done.
I'm
Yeah,
done.
we're done. I'm done.
I'm spent.
Sorry.
I'm spent.
All right.
Well, that is it for this week's episode of Flight Deck. We will catch you guys next week.
Peace.